Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to the program. Today we are going to continue working on WPT failures. And I thought we would maybe do a crash today. So we have a bunch of crashes here in our WPT dashboard. The category with the most crashes is CSS. So I guess that would be a good place to go. And then let's pick CSS2. Because CSS2 is old and we should probably be able to handle whatever this is. Okay, syntax has a bunch of things. Looks like it could be all the same problem based on the name of everything here. So let's check these out. Okay, so let's try to run this in Ladybird. And. That doesn't look like a crash. Says that it's supposed to crash. It's kind of weird. Number 2 should crash as well. Okay. So the output is kind of weird looking. It's like failed load, status 200, okay. A little bit strange. So it's failing to load the resource. What does that even mean? Oh, I wonder if it's that we're loading it with HTTPS now. We should maybe try HTTP. There we go. Okay, so I think when WPT runs, it uses HTTP. But when I look at the test on the web, it uses HTTPS. So could be something with that. So what do we have going on here? We have crashing in parse CSS style sheet. Cool. Well, at least then we have something to investigate. So why are you crashing? Parser helpers line 29. Actually, somebody asked me why I don't use CLion's built-in debugger, and I guess we can do that. So I haven't used it much, but that's a fair comment. If I'm going to use LLDB, might as well try CLion's debugger. So I think what we want to do is like attach to a running program, attach to process, web content, I guess, and there we go. Okay, and then I just have to like load something up that would fail, and we get a crash. So we can see that we are crashing here in parse CSS style sheet. We are here, and presumably we are failing to convert from UTF-8. So are we getting non-UTF-8 CSS? Is that what's going on here? Okay, so we got some Japanese text. And we've imported a style sheet with shift jizz encoding with UTF-8 bomb. Okay, so I think this is some Japanese, like legacy text encoding for Japanese. I'm not sure. Let's Google it. Right, shift jizz. Character encoding for Japanese language. Sounds old. 1997. I don't know if that's a year or just the name of the standard, but when did this come out? Okay, I'm just going to guess it's 1997. So, okay, so we're dealing with text that isn't UTF-8. So we're probably calling in here with some CSS or raw CSS data in another encoding. So I shouldn't look here. I should look here. I should use the CLion debugger. Okay, so CSS import rule. We have loaded a resource referenced by a CSS import rule. and we are parsing it. And what are we passing in? We are passing in the encoded data as is. So we're not making any attempt to decode it other than right here, just saying like, hey, this is UTF-8, just make a string from it. So I can see why that would fail if the encoded data is not UTF-8. It's funny that we haven't encountered any trouble with this before. I guess CSS import rules are not super common. So it's when you do this add import thing and you say like, hey, I'm in a style sheet, please import this other style sheet as if it's right here. It's like a pound include for CSS, right? And it seems like we've implemented that a little bit sloppily by not attempting to decode. So what we want to do here is we want to get the resource encoding, I think. Right. So if the resource has like a content type header, or even if it doesn't, I think we will guess something. Let's check this out. CSS import rule downloaded something with type. Let's just see what we think the thing is. Is that a string? No? Okay. How do I stop the debugger? This looks relevant. Okay. Okay, and then this guy right here. So what did you say that we did? Downloaded something with type shift jizz. Okay. So we definitely want to decode that to UTF-8 and then pass UTF-8 to our style sheet parser, because our CSS parser only works on UTF-8. So it assumes that if you're calling it, you've already gone through the trouble. And I think what normally happens is that you don't, style sheets normally come in through a link element or a style element. They don't come in very often through the import rule. So that's probably why we just didn't take care of this. Let's see how this happens elsewhere, like in the link element. So what do we do in the link element? We have a decoded string, and the decoded string is produced by text codec. Convert input to UTF-8 using given decoder unless there is a byte order mark. My goodness, that is very verbose. So I think we just want to do this sort of song and dance. Right, so I need to produce a decoder. Okay, so text codec decoder 4 encoding. Maybe we should look at this from the top instead. Okay, so encoding is, oh, interesting. So if the link element has a char set attribute, then we use that for the encoding. Otherwise, we get it from the document. In our case, though, we have it from a downloaded resource. Kind of interesting. I'm curious what happens like if you have a link element that references a CSS file, and then the HTTP headers specify like a different content encoding for that CSS file. Like, where would we end up then? Curious. But that's another issue. So let's look at this issue. So we just have to do this. We can't have a char set attribute because there's no element. The import rule doesn't have a char set. But we can use the document encoding as a fallback, I suppose. Import rule. Who specs this? Specifications, cascading and inheritance level 5. Sure. So yada, yada, yada. If the import rule refers to a valid style sheet, user agents must treat the contents of the style sheet as if they were written in place of the import rule. Blah, blah, blah. Right, so content type. Coding. The environment encoding of an imported style sheet is the encoding of the style sheet that imported it. What is an environment encoding? Oh, maybe that's like, right. So it's the fallback when there's no encoding hint. So whatever the encoding is of the style sheet that imported me. So like the parent style sheet. How do I find that? I guess CSS rule has a sheet, parent style sheet. Okay, and then do style sheets have an encoding? Okay, we don't have that here. So maybe we will have that as a fix me. Because we're getting a little bit out of bounds here. So let's see. Let's just go at this one step at a time. So we need a text codec. I guess I will work on this in this year, so I'll just update that. Libtext codec, decoder. Yes, we need one of those. And then we are going to right. But the encoding may have been missing. So value or yeah, the correct thing to do here is to get it from the importing style sheet. Environment encoding of the importing style sheet. Right. So yeah, it's not correct, but we will do this for now, and then we'll get a decoder, and then decoded is now. What were those other people doing? Text codec, convert input to UTF-8, yada 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 yada. Right. Convert input to UTF-8 using given decoder unless there is a byte order mark. Sure. And can we build this? Almost. Wait, what are you not liking? Parsing context. Wait, that's not the right function. We want to pass a decoder and an input. Oh, so I just had them the other way around. Okay. And then if, I guess decoded or error, really. Yeah. Encoding was, yeah, because if we can't decode it, then we can't. But if we can, then decoded is decoded or error, release value, and then we can use that here. Mm-hmm. Oh, decoder is optional. So if we don't have one, yeah, that's an unsupported encoding. So we do the same. Dun, dun, dun. Don't want to have a copy. Okay. Cool. Looks green too. That's good. Okay. More of these things running. That one is probably not passing, but even so, it's better than crashing. We have a list of the tests here. Oh, 3 was not crashing before either, but 4 is supposed to be crashing. Oops. Not crashing, looking green. All right, so we are going to be in better shape with these tests for sure. That's pretty good. Okay, so I think we're on the right track here. It's a little bit messy, but I think it's still better than crashing. And we've done a little bit of defensive programming here. So if we can't find a decoder, we don't attempt to decode anything. If we can't decode it with the decoder, we also just ignore the style sheet. And we complain on the debug output. So I think that's fairly good. Let's create a branch. So import rule CSS import with non UTF-8 encoded sheet. Yes, libweb. CSS add import with allow CSS import rules to import non UTF-8 style sheets. Yes, this fixes a number of crashes in the WT CSS. CSS2 syntax directory. Cool. It would be good to have a local test for this, but for our local tests, like we don't have an HTTP server when we run our local tests. So we can load file URLs, but I can't say like, oh, this file URL has a different encoding. But maybe I could do a data URL. It's a little weird. Can you do a data URL with shift jizz encoding? I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Can you make me a data URL with shift jizz, a shift jizz encoded style sheet? Really small, please. That would be nice. Okay. Let's see if that works. So shift jizz CSS. Let's try it. Style. Add import. That would be very cool. And then I guess, so what was it doing? It was doing like body background color. Okay, wait, can you do one? That makes the body green instead. Let's do that. Thank you. I wonder if this will work. What? How do we? What do I make of this? I think maybe Mr. GPT here messed it up a little bit. let's see. Base, do I have base 64? Decode. Oh, do I have to, right. You made it red, you doofus. Sure. So I guess this isn't necessarily shift, just, I mean, it's not relevant maybe because we needed to have some characters that we can't represent. So what is actually in the style sheet? Bum, bum, bum. Let's make sure that we have something in there that, yeah, I guess it's this stuff right here, whatever this is. Can we get the URL on that thing? Copy URL, yes. Okay. So, you know what? I'm just going to base 64 encode that. How do you base 64 encode? There we go. Okay, so if we do that and then do that, then what do I really have now? I have whatever this is, it's going to be red. And then what were we doing here? Right. So I guess I just need to have something with this class. But I could do that in UTF-8. So hello? I'm a little bit confused about how this test even works. But I guess that should be okay. So if I open this right now, it should be red, right? Okay. I'm probably not even understanding how the test works. But the whole point was to just not crash when we have a shift-jizz thing. So let's just go backwards here. And what we're going to do is we're going to check if I just revert that change, would the test crash as is? It doesn't. Okay, so that's a little bit concerning. So how do we make it crash? I guess it is valid UTF-8 right now, so we do need to have that more interesting URL, which would be this one, for example. Okay, so if we do that, it will crash. Okay. That's enough for me. Like, we can have a regression test, just verifies that we don't crash anymore. Okay, so put that in source, Ladybird, test, libweb, text input, CSS, import rule shift, just HTML. And then we will just do this little thing here. Pass. Didn't crash. I have a lot of tests that look like this that just say like, you passed if you didn't crash. And they're essentially regression tests where we just like doing something and then we just want it to not crash. We don't care about the exact output. So let's see. So we get rid of that. We want to drop the revert. And then we want to make sure that we can run the test, and that the test just says pass didn't crash when we run it. That sounds really good. Cool. All right. So that's pretty good. I think that will be probably enough. I'm just going to run our test suite here. The test suite runs so much faster now after Tim Flynn made it run in parallel. It's pretty impressive, actually. Like, look at it go. It's like a couple of seconds. All right. Yeah, I think that'll be enough for today. We fixed the issue. We added a regression test, and this should unlock, seems like at least, the tests here in the CSS2 syntax category. Potentially other tests as well. Don't know. We'll see. And next time we have a finished run, maybe we accidentally fix some more things. Cool. Well, this will be the end of the video. So if you made it here, thank you for watching, for hanging out. I will put the links to the WPT dashboard and our Grafana graph, of course, in the video description. We are currently at 1.528 million passing subtests. Goes up and down a little bit. We have some stability issues with the runner, but we're definitely heading in the right direction, upwards in general. So that is good. And if you are interested in helping out with these, there's a fajillion failures that you can look into. Just grab something that looks interesting and come hang out on Discord if you want to chat with other people who are working on tests. And if you get stuck, you can always ask for help. But in general, I think this type of work is super useful, and it improves our web compatibility. And it's a really great way to get started in the project if you've never worked on Ladybird. This is a nice way to have like a little thing that you can focus on and figure out. Anyway, check it out if you're interested. Thanks for watching the video. I will see you next time. Bye.